Validating other people.
Validating other people.
Validation.
You look great today, buddy.
Wow, nobody...
Did you do something with your antlers?
Yeah, nobody has antlers like you. I don't know how you do it.
And
do you just wake up like that?
How shiny are his eyes right now?
Oh my God, your ears, they're so large. I bet you can hear so well. Look at those nostrils.
Look at those nostrils. Ha! Great.
They're beautiful. So are
beautiful.
yours. I think your nostrils are beautiful.
I think you have beautiful nostrils, dear listener.
Just accept it, okay? Sometimes we all need some validation.
Yeah. Welcome to This Feels Funny. My name is Tyler Jones.
I'm Kat West.
And we're just doing a silly podcast here about our feelings as two comedians.
Yeah, trying to be more authentic and vulnerable while also not taking some of the more heavy things so seriously.
Yeah, exactly. We're all officially launched now, but we do bank these episodes a little bit and record in bulk because we don't have time to just sit down every week and record 20 minutes at a time. That'd be nuts, right?
I think that it's just smart.
Yeah.
It's really just logistically a good move to make.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
For saying I'm smart.
You are. Are we going to get into this? Let's get into this.
Yes.
You're really fucking intelligent, okay?
Speaking
you bring
of
a
which.
lot to the room when you walk in. There's so many things and qualities that I don't even yet know about you that are amazing and invaluable.
Oh, as a dear person to me would say, don't be too nice to me or I'll kill us both. So, here's the deal. We're going to get into a fun topic today. We're going to start talking about validation and support and compliments, affirmation of others. What is the expectation that we should have of others to do that for us? And how can we execute on that appropriately without negating our own boundaries, I guess, right? Without completely forgetting about our sense of self as well. What do you think?
And I think that it'll be kind of fun for us to talk about it because we both are people who are really validating to the people around us. Yeah. But thank you. You just want to hear my voice better, okay? Thank you. Yes.
Sorry, go on. I was trying to be subtle and it just was not moving.
It wasn't subtle at all. And that's okay. That's okay. See? But we are both people who I think that that's just something we often bring to an interaction is we can not only validate people, we can sense when that is needed.
Yeah.
And it is so often needed, I think, in the world and in people. And it's something that it is really hard to ask for, but also receive.
I get that. I think that's really a good point. And I think that's something that we definitely love to do that. I've busted into this comedy scene as the person that's going to be not the person, but as a person that's going to be the big validator. And I try really hard to make sure that it does come from a place of being genuine. Yeah. And I had this happen to me recently, and I think that you can relate to this a little bit. I had to check myself really hard the other day or last week or something like that, where it's about kindness in general and giving compliments and affirmation. You have to do it with the mentality of where the genuine authenticity comes in. You have to do it with the mentality of, I expect nothing in return. Yes. I am doing this for them and not for me in any way, shape, or form. If they don't like it, that is fine. If they don't want it, that's fine. If they're appreciative of it, that's great. If I don't ever get any affirmation in return too, that is fine. Because then that goes into the whole people-pleasing thing we discussed in episode 1. But then the other side is just it's unhealthy. Would you say so? Yeah, absolutely. And I think that there are times, sometimes I am somebody who has difficulty accepting some compliments when the intent is unclear. Yeah. Or when I can feel that they want to receive something from me in return. You know, they're trying to get closer to you. They're trying to develop some kind of sense of camaraderie through compliments, which is not necessarily something that's bad, but there is something when I validate people, you mentioned, sometimes whether or not, whatever you say, you're not doing it for an effect, right? And sometimes when I give validation, I will almost do it to such a point that I will make it a little bit uncomfortable intentionally.
to kind of prove energetically that I'm like, I'm not doing this to make things better for me. I need to say this. I'm so sorry. Like, you're just really talented and you did such a good job. And I know you don't really want to hear it and like, blah, 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 blah. And like just doing it to a point where it is almost a little bit uncomfortable because it's hard to receive, and it's hard to find people who can give you that kind of feedback and not want anything from you.
I agree. It is incredibly difficult sometimes. I think that might go to the other part of like expectations too, right? Like this ties into like some sort of like toxicity that goes into like friendships and relationships sometimes, where people have said it before, like they have like a sense of superiority over other people because they say other people don't love the way that I do. And it's like, okay, that is essentially just the statement. That's a true statement, and stop.
Yeah, and that's a moment for you to self-reflect on the way that you love, not the way that other people are loving you.
Exactly.
Because if that's how you consistently feel in your interactions, there's something that's going on with you.
Well, that would be true if we use the sentence like, nobody loves as well as I do.
Yeah.
Nobody gives me the love that I give to them, which is a huge thing. And I think that what they mean by what the initial statement was that.
Yeah.
And it's like, some sort of masturbatory statement that they want to post online, which is fine. And the word masturbatory rips. I just saw that smirk. It's such
it's
such
great.
a stupid word.
It's great.
Great. It's great. It's great. It's great. But
masturbation. Yes. Are you doing it? Did you know you're totally allowed to? There's no shame.
Don't ask the listeners if they're currently masturbating.
Please take your hands off your genitals if they're there. If you're masturbating right now, I need you to stop. If you're not masturbating at all, I need you to start. That's my point, okay?
Still. Oh, that was welcome to the unhinged part of the podcast.
Yeah, feel a little spicy today.
Yeah, no, good. And you enjoy, just like you're enjoying your half glass of bubbles.
My beverage.
Yeah. So I think that what we want to get into today, like getting to the fucking point, Tyler, is how do you identify, as you stated before, when you feel like validation is like due or maybe needed or wanted by another individual?
Oh man. Well, and this is something also like, okay, within comedy, I really only I'm somebody who's really good at giving compliments and validating people because I only do it when I mean it.
Okay.
I am not just offering empty platitudes to people and just like and trying to beef them up because I sense that they need it.
Okay.
And so, but when I do give it, then you can trust that, like, I mean that shit.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it because I want you to feel better. I'm just saying it because, like, I saw this way that you interacted with the world and it made me feel seen, made me feel something. And that's really cool. I'm really happy that you were there and you did that. And, versus, so when I first entered the comedy scene, I was a little bit more generous with my compliments.
Okay.
And so now I think that some people are seeing, like, they felt that those compliments were real, and maybe now they aren't occurring as much because I'm not going to say it unless I mean it. I'm not going to come up and really, like, dissect the set and, like, go through the things and tell you all these amazing things unless I really liked your set that much.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point.
And so that can be, that can be kind of awkward when you have validated someone to a really high extent and then you don't maintain that. Like, and that's like not being the people pleaser, right? But like, it can be a little bit awkward when you have like really genuinely interacted with someone, given them this validation, made them feel really seen and really human. And then it is just that moment.
Yeah. True.
It doesn't have to be a consistent thing. It doesn't have to be an always thing. It's just in the moment when it's appropriate. And when I feel like saying it. And so then you can trust that when I say it, it's true.
That's good. So from that standpoint, when you're identifying like who we should be giving that validation to, it's more like hey, you can do it, and you don't have to stick with. I think that's a really good point. We don't have to stick with consistently doing it because you don't owe other people your time and affirmation, but it is truly powerful that when you identify the moment to do it, to make the effort to do it, because you never know what another person might need to hear in that moment.
Yeah.
And that's like cheesy, but it's fact. Yeah. I mean, we shouldn't be afraid. Do you feel like other people are like apprehensive to give other people like affirmations and verify their existence and validation and compliments?
Especially within the performance scene, within the artistic scene. It's almost like, I think that some people, maybe it's not something I think conscious often, but there is this thing that comes up for me too, where like, if I'm complimenting you truly, does that take anything from me and my talents and what I'm trying to bring?
Yeah, that's fair.
And so I think sometimes, especially like, of course there's inherent competition within the comedy scene, and where people are comparing themselves to other people. What is my level of success? What's yours? How well are you mastering this craft?
Yeah.
And to give somebody a really deep compliment about the thing that you are also trying to do and be can be a little bit triggering, because sometimes when you see somebody being really successful, it can reflect in you, I want that.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I couldn't agree. There's something funny that happened at the Chameleon open mic the other night.
Let's go.
Caleb Nash, great guy, great comic. He said he was hosting in place for John.
Okay.
And by the fourth comic, he kept introducing all the comics, and it's true because it was just a list. He kept introducing all the comics as my good friend. And he just goes, Jesus Christ, this is the fifth fucking time I've said my good friend and somebody that I respect as a friend a lot. And then he just stopped saying it, and he called me up there, and of course I just said, it's really cool to discover that I'm not Caleb's fucking friend like this. And, so it's that kind of thing of like, it is, I find it comical when people have an expectation of a compliment or piece of validation, because then I'm just like, what the fuck? That's like, it's hilarious, but some people mean it. And they're like, why am I not getting, I'm fishing, but why am I not getting it? So, but I mean, when we're offering that to other people, how do we draw the line here too, between validation and complimenting people and affirming people, and the line between those three things and actually like providing support? Because I feel like that those two things can bleed in.
Yeah, no, they can. And I mean, I've had to, and we can talk about this in more in depth on another episode. I mentioned doing an episode about the idea of a savior complex.
Oh yeah.
And I think that when you really see somebody and you say it to them and you really recognize it, sometimes if you can make somebody feel really seen and comfortable and accepted, it can often bleed into, well, like, now I want that from you.
Okay.
Give me more. I just got a taste of something I haven't felt in a while.
Okay.
You just made me feel a little whole for a moment, and now I want that from you.
Okay.
And that's fair. And I've very much made an attempt to pull back from that just way of interacting with people. I'm like, oh, I can just say the thing that I meant and that be the end of it.
Okay.
And I can see that maybe something's going on or you would need more validation. I'm not going to give that to you, though.
Okay.
And nor do I have to.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I used to see the saddest little stray cats in the alleys, and I'd be like, I have to save them all.
Yeah.
They're all so cold and hungry.
I've seen your Instagram story, Jesus Christ. Yeah. I can't wait to hear about how your summer is going to go.
There's no cats, and we're going to keep it that way.
There's no cats?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
There's no cats.
Holy shit. Yeah. No, I hear that. I think that something that I've faced in my time of like providing support and validation to people is to say, like, if I know somebody's going through it and they're experiencing something where they're not really certain about how they're doing, or if they do something that's uncomfortable, it's like, I want to provide to you that level of support. Yeah. But it's like, how can I do that without taking on the emotional baggage?
Yes.
Like, as a difference, complimenting the comics after they did your Sins and Virtues show when they clearly did something and stated that they were uncomfortable doing it, but they did it anyway.
Yes.
Give them the I was like, we got to give them that validation. Yeah. Because it's like, you fucking stepped up and outside. And I was very impressed that you just fucking did it. And that's awesome. Good for you. And then like the flip side of that is if somebody said, yeah, I'm going through so much stuff right now, I just feel like shit about myself. It's like, you don't need validation from me. You need what we're going to get into on the next episode here for next week, y'all, is validation from yourself. And how do we do that? So separating that difference and recognizing that there is almost, and I'd say that, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this and any listeners' thoughts, to be honest. You can't fix insecurity. You can't fix self-confidence problems. You can't fix self-esteem problems and depression, yada, 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 with a compliment and with that validation. However, it does help.
Yeah.
But you're not going to reach your full level of fulfillment through me telling you that you mean something to me, that you are valuable to others.
Yeah.
But it's still so important to do.
Yes.
And we should look for opportunities to do that. The quietest people about how sad and how much they need affirmation are the ones that oftentimes fucking need it the most. So that's why I'm like, I'll give it freely. Let's go. Let's find this thing, and I'm going to hype you up about it. I'm going to tell you how proud of you I am for it, because, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. It's such a cool thing. And I was like, I did this. The first comedian that ever called me out. Again, we're just giving all kinds of shout outs to our pals right now. Stephen Bear, thanks for teaching me how to do reels right. But really good at video work. Just incredibly good at it. And like the editing, it's just, he's so fucking talented with it. And I told him, I was like, dude, no, you gotta, this was like a year ago. I was like, I'm really looking forward to seeing you turn this into a big thing. You're going to be the go-to guy. You're going to be the one that people are coming to for podcast work, for audio work, for video work, for live stuff, anything in between. You're going to be that dude. And that's fucking dope that you do that. And his face, did his normal thing. Let me do my best Stephen Bear impression. Like,
that was stellar.
Man.
That's so good.
Yeah. It was
That's so good.
Love you, dude. But yeah, it was so, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Man, I appreciate that. It was so awesome.
Follow him. Follow Bean Soup Network.
Yes, follow Bean Soup. That's the big one. And yeah. But I think, yeah.
So, I mean, what you said, compliments aren't going to be the thing that gives somebody self-confidence or self-esteem, but I'm such a nerd for this, but like my brain went to like Lord of the Rings.
Let's go.
The beacons are lit. I think that like these little moments of affirmation and validation can be little guideposts on the way towards you believing it, and you're gonna need to see somebody else is gonna have to light the flame for you, and you can't always light it for yourself. And so you like those moments where somebody says something truly and deeply kind to you and you notice yourself not believing it or resisting it is a really beautiful moment for you to recognize how you're not seeing some of those things in yourself that other people are seeing, and that you can believe them. You can believe the things that people say to you.
Yeah.
And that's something that still crops up in my own life,
So much easier said than done. I mean, I really do get it. And obviously we're just specifically talking about like self-esteem, self-confidence. We're not talking about like those things impact chemical imbalances in like actual diagnosis of like conditions like depression and anxiety disorders. We're not talking about that. We're simply talking about like the concept of low self-esteem, low self-confidence, massive amounts of self-doubt. I really like that. That's a really good comparison to say like, hey, these are the guideposts.
Yeah.
You have to take the journey.
And you have to keep walking.
Yeah. And if you support and love somebody or want to support them or want to see them get there, light that guidepost for them if you can.
Yeah.
And don't hesitate to do so, because what's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to say, like, I know I can speak, and this is one of the big things I want to talk about. As a man, speaking especially to other men, immediately it's like, hey man, I really love how you do this in your life. It is such an incredible thing to witness, and like it's just a beautiful thing that I wish that I had more of you in me as well. Now what I just said, gay, that's how guys act.
Yeah.
But I also did say I want to see more of you in me. which was an accident. I meant more of, I want to see more of your likeness in my own
you have
likeness.
something that makes me feel more like a human in this world.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But that's
for showing
a lot of times where it gets challenging, and it's an understandable social conditioning. And then on the other side of it too, it's like a matter of like, what's the expectation or what's the ulterior motive, especially when we see, again, speaking to my own experience, a straight cis man speaking to another woman, or femme presenting individual, we will say, I give a compliment. Mm-hmm. It can be oftentimes
it can be so much harder for you have to recognize that there are, like, if there's attraction involved, it can be a lot harder for the compliments and the validation to be fully received, because that's something that, like, can be difficult for me. If I sense that somebody is attracted to me, it's so much harder for me to believe the things that they say to me that are complimentary.
Yeah.
There has to be a layer or two peeled back that makes it just human.
Yeah, 100%.
Going into ulterior motives. I just have this bumbling around in my brain, and I just have to say it since I made the Lord of the Rings comparison. But, like, as validation, and other people seeing you as guideposts along, Gondor calling for aid. Let's say that's, you want to feel like a real human. You want to have, but, like, Rohan has to answer, So at the end of it, you have to be willing to take those fires that led you to this thing that called you towards, I'm worth it, and you got to go answer the call.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like yourself.
Or the Bibby Bog will come get you or something.
Sure.
What was the one that fought the Gandorf?
Oh, man. Then,
the wizard?
That's not the Nazgul. That's the things that they ride. Oh, I forget what his name is.
They started with a B. Oh, well.
No, I know Sheba's the spider. That's a really good job. We don't need to get into Lord of the Rings. I could. I will not.
I know that it's Balrog, and I know that it's Gandalf. Okay,
it is Balrog.
I know that it's a Balrog, and I know that it's Gandalf. Don't worry,
creature of the team.
But we're gonna clip that together for sure.
I thought it would be
Gandorf.
I thought it would be a little clippable.
Yeah. Man, that's just me doing a dick thing. So, no, I love what you're saying. So I think that's a good place to end on,
to wrap
for
this
folks.
one up. Yeah, I think so too.
Because I want all of us to take away the main points here, which is where we've kind of even reached this conclusion together. Again, this isn't from a therapeutic standpoint, but this is just the importance of it. I want to see giving compliments means a lot more than you think, and I really love the connection that we've made here. Somebody might be in the dark, somebody might be a little lost, helping light those guideposts to say, like, hey, this is what we want, this is what we see in you. We want you to see this in yourself.
Yes.
And then also realizing, like, there are ulterior motives, right?
Yes.
There are some, and that's okay. And we can ignore those, or we can address them, but don't always think that there is. And I think that that's critical. Despite I know how hard it is. Like I said,
it's really hard to feel seen, and that's something that we kind of talked about. Like, but those moments where somebody says something to you, where they're really just showing you that they see you, they see you, and they appreciate you for who you are, and that matters. And you can believe them.
100%. Cool. Well, thanks so much for watching This Feels Funny and listening on whatever fucking streaming platform you're listening on. Wow, I was edgy just now, wasn't I?
You got a little spicy.
Yeah,
I'm going to need to be nice to them for a second. Thank you for listening. I'm really happy that you're here. I think you're a pretty cool human, even if you convince yourself that you're not. I think that's a load of crock and a big old bullshit fart patty, and stop it. Just quit it.
Where can I order fart patties?
Please
follow us on Instagram. Kate, thank you so much. We got to do what Kate
you just called me Kate.
No, Kate gave us this advice.
Okay, my body got hot for a second, you guys.
I was worried. So sorry. So yeah, you can follow us at This Feels Funny Pod on Instagram. Make sure to get us on YouTube there. From there, you can find our individual handles for Instagram if you want to follow us there. Just don't bother us. I'm just kidding. And follow us, subscribe on Spotify. Please rate and review that shit. Share it with a friend. Subscribe on YouTube. Like the stuff. Comment.
Leave a comment and validate us if you feel like it.
Yeah.
Only if you actually like it, though. Okay,
Yeah.
We don't want to hear your lies.
And we also don't want to hear your bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I do think you're a cool human, don't bring your bullshit to the table, and I think you'll have a better time overall.
Yeah, I'm waiting for somebody to say like, "Oh man, women aren't funny. Where's the punchline?" Ah.